everyone. You know what this is. Circle Brothers Podcast with RJ. Circle Brothers Podcast. You know what this is. All things entertainment. We talk about comic books, video games, movies, and TV shows, and of course tech stuff. This isn't a private conversation. We want to include you in on it because, like I said, when you're rocking with Circle Brothers, you're rocking with the best. You family here. Check the audio version first on Anchor, and also on Soundcloud, and also on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Circle Brothers Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Circle Brothers Podcast with RJ, Eric. What's up, peoples? How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? I hope everyone is doing well, as I usually say every week. And I hope you are feeling well because
we have not been.
We have not been. Send help. Your boys are not well.
Because they're getting old, I guess.
Yeah,
Jeez.
well, with the changing of weather in Columbus, Ohio, of course, weather changes. It fluctuates. It's hot. It's cold.
Then it just snowed twice.
Yeah, it snowed
in a week.
Yeah, we're not ready for that.
Not at all.
Not at all. So. In any case, wanted to just go ahead and give you guys a nice warm welcome. Now that we're actually feeling a little bit better, we'll go ahead and conduct our podcast as we normally would. Let's see, as far as things going on in the course of the last couple of weeks, there's been a few things actually going on. But first things first, Eric, how are you doing, man?
Well, after feeling like death warmed over the last 2 days, I'm good. Hopefully later today, I can get some gaming in. Watch some stuff. Now, since the last time we were together, we talked about Watchmen. Bro.
Yeah.
I think we got to talk about that one. But mostly, I have been playing Luigi's Mansion.
Oh.
And, Luigi's Mansion 3 for Switch, which is awesome. I think...
I saw gameplay on, because you were playing on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. And so I have to honestly say that is probably one of the best looking Switch games out there.
Word.
And just the animations and how they do things, and it's so well written. The puzzles are great. It's a great game.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm loving it.
Cool. With me, of course, I'm still grinding through my Assassin's Creed, of course, outside the changes at work and, of course, family situations and me being sick. Me hacking and coughing and inducing things that are not of human consumption or human anything. It's just gross. Yeah. So, but I feel better. So outside of that, mostly been looking through a few other things too. We'll actually get into Watchmen here in a little bit. But before we actually get into that, I did want to let everybody know, and I'll actually send a separate video off to our Facebook page. We did actually find a winner for our Spider-Man Far From Home giveaway. We'll go ahead and send a Facebook message off to that. So whoever is the winner, you want to keep an eye out for Facebook and for a direct message through Facebook. So that way we'll go ahead and reach out to you. And we'll get to you guys in another video that actually, I think in that same video, or may kick off a different video that lets us know the next giveaway that we're actually going to be doing. So we're roughly going to be trying doing the giveaways about once a month, roughly. So keep an eye out for that, because we want to reward you guys for actually rocking with us, because we rocking with Circle Brothers, you're rocking with the best. You know this already. So anyway, the first thing that I want to speak on, which is rather interesting. Remember back in Avengers Endgame when Loki stole the Tesseract and actually just vanished, and everybody was wondering where he was, and we come to find out he's actually having his own show on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. Now there's actually a connection with Loki, because now they're saying that Loki is actually going to have a connection between Doctor Strange and also
the Multiverse of Madness?
Multiverse of Madness, if I can talk. Jeez. So, Multiverse of Madness, and also Multiverse of Madness is going to have connection with Scarlet Witch.
Right.
And her TV show. So, literally, those shows are going to literally be bridging with the movie.
And with Ant-Man.
Didn't know about the Ant-Man piece. But it's a good bridge with the Ant-Man because of the microverse and all the other universes that are connected through the microverse. So that's actually a pretty good discussion on that one. So I wanted to actually just let the people know about that there is actually a deeper connection with the Loki show as it actually comes out. How it'll connect, we don't actually know. But somehow, some way, Doctor Strange, I don't know if it's going to be really a cameo or if it's actually from Loki or if it's actually going to be a much pivotal role in it. That one I actually don't actually know. But I do know that it's actually going to be interesting. So I just wanted to make sure I actually put that out in the podcast for people to actually be aware of. So that when they do see the Multiverse of Madness, they can keep a lookout for those particular Easter eggs coming from Loki and from Scarlet Witch. Which, if you're looking for Scarlet Witch, you're probably going to be looking for some
X-Men stuff.
Or some. They may actually tie into some loose ends from Vision. Maybe. So, because Vision and Wanda were a thing at the moment. So, they also brought up too for the Wandavision that they may actually tie into her with her kids, like having the imaginary kids. Which spoiler, but she had one of the stories from comics is that she actually had imaginary kids, and she had two of them, which actually wasn't imaginary. She actually did have two kids. There were
a boy and a girl.
No, two boys.
Oh yeah, that's right. Right.
It's,
the boy and girl were in the Vision, the one-shot series where Vision had an android wife, and they had a boy and girl. That's what that was.
That's what you're wanting. That was actually a different story. So, but they may actually try to take some of those elements and try to put them together to create their own story.
That makes sense.
Right. So, if you actually are interested,
androids could have kids.
Right. Interesting Multiverse of Madness, because I mean you can't get an omelet without breaking a few eggs. So
I would not want to be in a room for that.
That's going to be a very long and awkward night. So anyway, so that actually is coming through that link for the Loki piece, interacting with Multiverse of Madness. Is actually coming from Newsarama. I'll actually include a link in the description for that if you want to take a closer look into that. The other thing I actually found was interesting is the new Batman with Sparkle Bats. Let's see, they actually found someone to play the new Penguin. Hence, Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell's playing Penguin?
Colin Farrell is playing the Penguin for the new Batman that's coming out.
Okay.
So with that one, I'm like...
It was supposed to be Jonah Hill.
They were talking about it, but Jonah Hill wanted too much money. Yep, as Jonah Hill does.
So maybe he didn't want to be typecasted as a fat guy, I guess.
Yeah, well...
you're fat, you can play Penguin?
I mean, well, he did lose a lot of weight. I'll give him that. So, and I understand I understand the piece that he wanted more money.
But here's the thing. Oswald Cobblepot is a very...
short and stout.
No. I mean, like, his character, like who he is as a villain and why he's a villain and everything he's interesting. He's a very interesting character.
Absolutely. And
so Jonah Hill, I thought, would bring something good to it, but not that Colin Farrell can't. I'm interested to see, because I mean, I thought them casting Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Selena Kyle was a good and all of their choices for Catwoman, like it was her. Zazie Beetz, I think, was one.
Yeah, in the running for it.
Yeah, like not Selena Gomez. There's another girl some Hispanic woman. Yeah, and then like one white chick, and like so it's like you could see where they were going with this,
right?
Which is fine. I don't mind it because
right. Which actually brings me to something else too. While we're actually talking about that, someone else has been cast as Harvey Dent. And that's going to be, all right. Matthew McConaughey has been cast as Harvey Dent.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, but now here's the thing that kind of is like, I'm interested in it, but here's the thing that kind of sold me on it. There was two separate events that actually made me think about it. The first, before that, I'm starting to think of like, okay, who played Harvey Dent before? And that was... what was his name? Well, that actually two. There was the one guy.
Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent in one Batman movie.
Did he?
Yes.
Which
Billy,
one?
the original, the Michael Keaton one. He was Harvey Dent was Billy D. Williams. Yeah, I'm not lying to you.
Huh? In the original?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I remember that? I always thought it was somebody else. Cause
no.
I thought it was just a Joker in the original one.
Nope.
Now, how far back are we going? Are we talking about like
cast?
For which one?
This is Tim Burton's Batman. I mean, yeah, Tim Burton's one. Billy D. Williams, Harvey Dent. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who was the Joker then?
Oh, Jack Nicholson.
Okay, so okay. I remember that now. It's just Harvey Dent hadn't turned. He was just a lawyer. That's the reason why it didn't pop out on me. Okay, so yeah, I get that. Now with Matthew McConaughey, the reason why it actually kind of made me interested was because there was two events. One, his commercials for the Lincoln cars. Mm-hmm. And how he has that very cool, very like half and half persona. It's what he's trying to portray. And I actually bought into it. I was like, okay, I could see it. I could see it. Some of it's cheesy, but I can kind of see it.
It was Aaron Eckhart that played Harvey Dent in
Dark Knight. Okay,
yeah. Which he was a good one.
Right,
he was good. He was good.
He was good. Now I think that he can actually play it too. The other thing that was kind of funny was because. He's actually a booster for University of Texas. Actually, one of the major like celebrity sponsors.
I've seen him do hook 'em horns way too much.
Yeah. So, and one of the things is I actually seen him like in the basketball games. Like I think it was like last year, where he was actually on the bench along with the coaches and the other players, and encouraging the other players. I almost thought he was a coach at one point. But even the commentator was like, "Okay, well, Coach McConaughey is trying to pump up his guys."
So here's something interesting. Some people who were interested in the role but didn't get it, who I think would be a much better Harvey Dent, is Liev Schreiber.
Okay, I can see that
because he can play calm and cool.
What did he play in? Wait. What did he play in? Liev Schreiber.
Well, he was Kingpin in the Into the Spider-Verse. He voiced Kingpin in that.
Okay.
But he was in Liev Schreiber's been in all kinds of stuff. I mean,
I'm interested. Liev Schreiber. And the reason why is I'm like, for some reason I can't think of what he played in. Oh, okay. If you've actually watched Ray Donovan,
yes,
that's
Ray Donovan.
He's Ray Donovan. Okay, that's the reason why his name stuck out like a sore thumb. I couldn't picture it, but yeah, okay. So he could have worked out. He would have worked out for it. Surprised he didn't get it. But anyway,
he expressed interest in the role.
Okay. So he expressed interest in the role, but they actually went for someone else. So they went for Matthew McConaughey. I am curious.
No. This is when Aaron Eckhart did. Yeah, in Dark Knight, Liev Schreiber had expressed interest in the role, but they went with Aaron Eckhart.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I could still see him
for the Dark Knight. I think,
in any capacity. As Two-Face. Like I think he would be a good one.
Cool.
Much better than Tommy Lee Jones did.
All right.
Two-Face.
Cool. So outside that, I mean, that's really about it from my end. Because those are the two things that actually stuck out for me over the last 2 weeks. And I was like, oh. So it's like, okay, Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Okay. Matthew McConaughey as Harvey Dent. And then they already got the Catwoman. Did they get a Riddler as of yet? I don't know if they did or not. But if they do, we'll talk about it on the next podcast. I'll do some digging for that. Outside that, Eric, do you have anything from your end before we dig into Watchmen?
Yeah, so a couple things. The one controversy, and Elijah has been on it, has been upset, has been about Death Stranding. So for anyone who is a huge Hideo Kojima fan, and you loved like Metal Gear, and there was another game that he had. I can't even think of what it is. It was like a mech kind of game.
Yeah.
Death Stranding has been getting all kinds of. Right now on Metacritic, it's standing at an 83, which isn't bad.
Right.
But a lot of the reviews, it's either people loved it. And gave it super high scores, or people hated it and gave it low scores. And so,
okay, you love it or you hate it, but you're still talking about it.
Well, because it's the newest thing. Right. Now the game it's running on the same engine as Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay,
so it's a beautiful. It looks great. But I've heard that it has a bunch of menial, like it looks like they're side quests. Like the main quests are basically what you would consider side quests for most other games. Like bring this package to here and then take this package here, and that's what you're doing. And so to me that kind of sounds boring, but I'll reserve any thoughts for when I actually get the game, and I'll give a review for it. A couple people I know have said that it's not that fun. And then like one other person I know who reviews games is like, I'll wait till it's $20. I'm like, that says a lot. So I don't know. I mean that's like the huge controversy right now, and then people are review bombing it. On Metacritic. So my view on that is this: it's like if you don't like a game, don't talk crap about it just because you think it's not going to be fun until you play it. Don't say anything. Right. You know, like I own all the systems, so I'm not gonna disrespect like a Nintendo game just because it's only on Nintendo, or a Microsoft game because it's only on that. That's so dumb. Right. So it's like if you want get all the systems, they're cheap enough now.
Yeah, because there's a lot of hardworking people that actually bust their butts and stay at home late stay at work late and avoid being at home with their families and stuff just to try to put out some entertaining content. Yeah. Which is always a gamble because people could like it or they could hate it or they could just not talk about it at all.
And, yeah, and see, and Kojima is like, I love Metal Gear, even though I didn't play the 5th one just because there was 2 parts to it, and it just was very hard to get in. Plus, it was Kiefer Sutherland. And that kind of, well, okay, so if I grew up with Snake being David Hayter. Right. And when you switch the main character's voice actor, I'm sorry, not that I don't like Kiefer Sutherland, but I don't associate Snake with Kiefer Sutherland. True. I associate it with David Hayter. Right. And so that's a turnoff. That was like a huge turnoff for me because when I hear Snake's voice, I want that gruff, and I didn't get that with him. Right. So
you think the voice actor chose to do something different, or
no? They just Konami wanted to go in a different route.
Of course.
So and it's the same thing happened with Splinter Cell. They went away from Michael Ironside and they had another voice actor. Guess what? Didn't buy that game. It's not considered Splinter Cell to me. So.
When you go away from what the audience wants, you kind of suffer in the pockets. But that's always the gamble.
But then you bring Michael Ironside back for Ghost Recon, where there's a mission that you do with Fisher. So it's just like, why did you go away from Ironside only to bring him back? I don't know. I mean,
because when you went away, you saw that dip in money. It was like, no, go back.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully they do Sam Fisher justice. Bring Ironside back. Just so you can get anyone to do the motion capture. Yeah. And then just have him do the voice. It's fine with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
So
or have Ironside do it. Shoot, maybe he's not that old where you can work with him. I mean, I think he's in his 60s. Maybe he'll roll around on the ground. I don't know.
So, but now, granted, I haven't played it either because I don't have a PlayStation. But what I've actually heard, I believe, like you said, it is actually a bunch of side quests, but they present different challenges for each one. It's like, for instance, like if, from what I've actually heard from some of the descriptions, it's similar to Dark Souls, but in a degree of how it's very resource intensive. And you have to make very calculated decisions on the resources that you bring and the elements you have to go through.
I don't want to do that's that's too much like real life.
Yeah, it's
like, when I'm coming over to your house, do I need to just have him go get gas now? No, I don't want to do that. Like that's I shouldn't do that in a game. I hate that.
True. But it appeals to other people who actually like because Dark Souls like can infuriate you, or it can actually be like, yeah, I want more of that. So that's
okay. So and I get the whole you have to manage inventory, but not to the extent that you have to with Death Stranding. Like
and you do run across bandits, and you run across like elements of weather that could actually corrode some of the resources that you have, like your ladders. Yeah, they could break, or it's like I think as somebody else described it too, like Breath of the Wild, where you actually are you have to. Some of the resources that you have, they could break if they're of low quality or something like that. And
or if you fall in the river, you got to go back and pick up everything that you dropped. I mean, so there's cool elements to it, and I think that the system that he had, it seems rather appealing. Where if if you had a PlayStation, we both had the game,
Mm-hmm.
you could leave a ladder somewhere, and I can use the ladder that you left.
Right,
Or
because they have hubs that you can build for that too, which is it's more like kind of like on Facebook, where if I actually post something and somebody else likes it, they could like on the post or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to take that social aspect of it and try to create things that actually help everyone advance in the game, but you can only use it a certain amount of times, like per person. So that actually is pretty dope.
Yeah, and like I said, there's aspects to the game that I think is good. There's aspects where I'm like,
right, and I also believe too that I think he's using this like a base layer. Like, I want to be able to create an entire universe, but I'm gonna use this as a base layer for the first part. Like if you're actually doing like a movie or a play or something like this, because of the way that his brain works and the way he's more like an artist than anything else, I honestly believe this is like Act 1. This whole game is like
as long as it's not as weird as Metal Gear Solid 2, I'm fine. Like, cause like
you know he's weird.
Oh my god, dude, that game! Like some of the stuff that happens in it, I'm just like, okay, this is for some.
No, that's funny.
Whatever.
It's like, okay, he's going into Weird Town.
Yeah, no, I mean,
right.
The first one, I loved the first Metal Gear. The second one was great. The third and fourth one, I think the third one was one of the best. Snake Eater, one of the best games. I mean, like, hands down, one of the best games ever made.
Right.
And the fourth one, and this has been a trend with all of Kojima games, is where the cutscenes just get longer and longer, and longer. And Metal Gear Solid 4, Sons of Liberty or Sons of the Patriots or whatever it was called. There's one cutscene that lasts, I swear to you, like 30 minutes long. Cutscene. You can't skip, which you don't want to skip because it's towards the end of the game. Right. But it's just like, dang.
It's like, am I watching like a TV show or something? And you have to visibly just forget, like, oh, I gotta pick up the controller.
Yeah, pretty much. And so, like, and I heard there's points of this game that are like that too, which is great. I mean, because you want story, but I've also heard that the story, there's so many plot holes in it. So it really just depends on if you've been a Kojima fan and you understand that you have to listen to every little thing to get what he's talking about, or if it's something different. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure.
Oh, that's funny, man. So then now we're going to go into Watchmen. Now, for those who are actually watching, we're going to actually have a discussion about Watchmen. The reason why I'm sectioning off like this is for those who haven't seen Watchmen yet but want to, you probably want to avoid this portion of the podcast. Come back probably a little bit later because we're probably going to talk about some other spoilery stuff. I would say give it about another 15-20 minutes. Even after that, you could probably just go ahead and skip the rest of this podcast because we're probably going to be talking about stuff at length. But if you want to hold on, we'll go ahead and talk around through it. If you don't care about spoilers, go ahead and hang around with us. If not, we will talk to you a little bit later. I'll holler at you later for the next podcast. We'll get into some more stuff. But for those who want to hang around, go ahead and hang with us for a moment. We're going to get into some spoilery stuff about Watchmen because a lot happened, and this is through episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 at the time of recording because today is Saturday the 9th of November. So we've only seen like the first 3 episodes of it. The next episode is going to be coming for episode 4 is going to be tomorrow. So we'll talk about that on episode 4 and episode 5, I believe, should be around the next podcast. But we'll talk about that then. But in the meantime, we're going to go jump right into it. Episode 1. What are your thoughts? I know that's a loaded question.
This universe that we're in for Watchmen, the future is it's crazy to me that they have these technologies. Like everyone basically has an electric car, but there's no internet. And
I thought there was.
No, there's the only internet is what links the phone calls that you can make to Dr. Manhattan.
Oh, the booths.
Yes, okay. Those booths are the only thing that are the internet. The government uses the internet, but that's only because they have to. You have that connectivity, and the reason why this world is afraid of the internet is because they feel like those radio waves are Dr. Manhattan-like and can cause cancer and things like that. So, and that's why there's no cell phones. Because
newspapers. That's
you
why
still have newspapers. Yep, everyone still read newspapers and stuff. So they're not using. They have some technologies, but
also
not.
Explain the old school car that Sister what's her name? Sister Midnight.
Yeah,
was driving.
Oh yeah, the Grand National. Yeah,
that thing is dope. So, but yeah, so I actually first episode. I guess I'll start with that. Starts with the Oklahoma City bombing, which is actually a real event.
Sister Night is her name.
Sister Night. Okay. So yeah, the Oklahoma City bombing. That was actually a very, very good depiction of that. But the reason why it actually caught me so well, and it actually, because I was like, okay, what is the connection between this and the present day? And then I actually caught on to it a little bit later. Is the beats and story format for Watchmen always like to tell a story within a story. And if you notice that they actually did it in episode 1, they did it with episode 1 with the Black burning in Black Wall Street and the present day. In the episode 2, they did it again, but they did it through, I believe it was Hooded Justice and what's going on in the present day. So that's another story within a story, and they're trying to kind of give you hints as far as what's going on inside of those stories. I think they did it again in 3.
Oh yeah, so she kept going back to with her joke where she was telling the joke about, and she acted like she messed up in her joke, and she didn't, and I was like, oh, I see how she's doing this, and so like she's acting more like her dad, so which is great because the comedian told jokes, and that she's being more like the comedian, but like she's being funny but still cynical, and like when they did that fake sting where they caught that guy who was like Batman, from stopping them from robbing the bank, and then she shot him, and the guy was like, how did you know his armor was gonna stop it? And she was like. Like she didn't think like it was gonna stop it. Like, so you shot it, and like that to me was just like, oh man, like because as soon as she came out, I'm like, that's Silk Spectre. That's like, why else would she be who she is? Yeah, and
they had some foreshadowing of it too when she goes into her apartment. They had the mosaic pictures in the back with all the Watchmen, and she was covering the part for Silver Spectre.
Yeah.
So
and she got one of her gloves out to feed Night Owl.
To feed that little owl.
Yeah, which is her lover who's still locked up. Like well, actually,
well, one of them.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that in a minute.
And then the whole thing with Ozymandias, that to me, I was trying to figure out like, okay, where is he? Because I thought at first, did they move him somewhere? Like on Earth, and he's trying to escape? No, he's on Mars.
Yeah, I didn't catch that till like way later because I was like, because somebody was dropping a hint like he's actually in some like type of purgatory that Dr. Manhattan put him in.
Yeah, so he's on Mars,
right? And he keeps trying to find a way to get off Mars by using these
catapults,
using the catapults and some other type of contraptions that he can find around the mansion that he's in. To go ahead and get him to using catapults to get him off of Mars, but come back frozen like.
Oh yeah, he beat that clone.
Yeah, he beat that clone up real bad because it was really weird. At first, I thought the clones were actually what was the clone? I thought they were his clones that he actually made to try to like introduce like new versions of like Dr. Manhattan,
right?
And trying to recopy that. Then it didn't dawn on me till later because the thing that kept repeating was the birthday cake. That whole scene kept repeating itself over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like,
he's in the Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, he's in the Groundhog's Day. And of course he's getting agitated because he's super smart. So the mundane will be like chaos to him. And of course it is. Yeah. So I'm like, wow. Because at the first episode, I was like, okay, he actually hid himself and like faked his death and actually went over to some foreign land and was just chilling over there. That's what I thought in episode 1.
Right.
Episode 2, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's still over there, but he must be trying to do some super clones. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Manhattan. number 3, it didn't dawn on me until I was like, wait, because he tried to escape. And he still has his old costume that he put on saying, I'm going to meet the adversary, blah, 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 blah. So now I'm thinking that Dr. Manhattan may actually show up on this episode 4.
Or they're not going to show him. They're just going to show, like, the back of him or...
Show the cheeks.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Manhattan likes to go nude. So
oh, yeah.
He doesn't like clothes. So.
Well, but the Silk Spectre had that...
Man, oh, my God.
She was like,
she carried it around in a
maybe
briefcase.
I should just go over to the young dude and get it from him. Like,
right, because she's like, do I feel like doing this again? This huge briefcase. I'm thinking she got some important documents, something like that.
Oh, it's a document, all right.
It's a big document. So she has a huge replica of
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan's Johnsonville bra. Johnsonville bra. So I can't make this up. I saw this.
Like a blue bat, dog.
It's a Louisville slugger. She about to knock it out the park.
Oh man.
So she pulls this thing out.
She can walk after
I'm telling you, I'm sorry if I'm going off, but this thing looks like a huge arm. It's like she just pulls
it's bigger than my arm. It looks like
huge shiny thing, just like it's about like that. Right? And she's just looking at it like, and then she eventually goes after, eventually pursues after the other FBI agent that's actually running with her. And this is episode 3 that we're actually talking about.
So one thing that caught me, and I kind of figured this from the beginning, was that Don Johnson's character, Judd Crawford, he was hiding something. You just had to know that he was. It's Oklahoma. I hate to say it about Oklahoma, but he's hiding something because that story within the story. Yeah. And you had to have known that because of who Lou Gossett Jr. was, and like because he had said to Regina King's character, Sister Knight, when she was going into the thing, he's like, "You think I can lift 200 some pounds?" And she kind of looked at him, and I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." Because like he wanted to say something, he wouldn't be standing out there for no reason. Right. And I was like, okay. And then like when he called her and said that I killed your chief, or killed the chief of police. It's like, well, no, the 7th, what's the
7th Cavalry?
Yeah, the 7th Cavalry. They didn't do that. Like they would have
claimed it, because they usually, like most terrorist organizations, once they actually do something, they claim it because they want people to know that we did this.
But he was one of them, and then also, which cracks me up because like, his family had that legacy, and that's why he had that clan suit. It was his dad's clan suit in his thing. But like, I don't know if he was really trying to hide where he came from, or if that's still part of who he is.
True. And
I always felt that was weird, and I saw that when they went to go see Oklahoma. But
yeah, because that was weird.
But then when they said it was Black Oklahoma, I was like, oh, but why was he there? Okay, well, all right.
Right. So I don't know if he just developed feelings for her. Like, it's kind of a gray dynamic right now, because you don't know if he developed feelings for her, and basically he felt this way, and he was like, okay, I feel this way, but I have a connection with you, so I feel like I feel like you're okay with me, so that way I can go ahead and stay close to you, but everybody else, I still feel this way because it's always been my family heritage.
Right.
So,
well, you're one of the good ones.
You always have to have a good Negro in your corner. Absolutely. Oh my God. And we laugh because it's true, because back in the day in the Southerners, they usually have that aspect too. You have your good Negroes that you keep close to, and you have your other Negroes that you have out in the field. But this isn't a history lesson. You know this already. So anyway, it just creates those interesting dynamics for the story, because there's so many different layers, and the story can go in so many different directions.
So who do you think picked up Lou Gossett Jr.'s character, Will Reeves? Who picked him up? Because when he was in the car, he was in her car. Who picked him up?
That's the part. The only thing that I can think of, I honestly think is probably the government. It's a different layer of the government that's doing it. That's what I'm thinking.
Where all the supers are?
It could be possible.
Well, because she's a super and she's in... Okay.
But she's a super with no powers, though.
That's true.
Right, and she's local, and they're actually hitting, and they're working with the police.
Okay.
So, and that's just in their end, because they did make a big hoopla, which is the reason why Silk Spectre came through, because she's a part of an anti-vigilante task force. So, if she's coming into town and she's helping, and the only reason why she's coming here is because the senator, who I think is dirty too.
Oh yeah, he's fake as a $3 bill. So.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, Silk Spectre, whoever yours, like, I know that you don't really like doing these type of things, but if you can actually go over here and help figure out who killed the chief, I'll help get your guy out released, because he's still actually in prison. So she's like, okay, fine, whatever. So she goes over there and she starts to figure out what's going on in Oklahoma. Now, as far as that's why I believe Luke Gossett Jr. was telling you, it's like, there's a conspiracy going on. I think it's so big that if I told you what it is, it's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's like he's like, it goes beyond me, and I honestly believe it's it's somehow somewhere tied to the government.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why he's like, I got people in higher places, and outside of course he was.
Well, yeah. So that goes back to that conversation that those two gentlemen were having at the newspaper stand, where they were saying, well, you know, when it concerns who could go for who they're going to vote for president,
right?
And they didn't. Robert Redford, which is crazy, so, or the senator, and it's like, well, they don't trust the senator. They didn't say why. They said, well, I don't trust him. But Redford had, had signed off on those reparations, or as they call them, Redfordations. And then what kind of caught me was I was trying to figure out who, because I figured that I didn't know if that little boy was her son at first. Mm-hmm. Because he looked like Michael Jackson's son, so I was like, oh, is Blanket doing so? Because that's who he looks like. And I was like, is that Michael Jackson's son? Is this little boy? Is he mixed or something like that? And I'm thinking okay, so who's Regina King's husband going to be in this movie? Right. And I was thinking it was Don Johnson. Oh, okay, right. But it's not. It was her partner's kids, right, that they had. And because when a little white girl's like, "Mommy," I was like, okay.
Right, because that threw me for a loop too, because they didn't directly address it until episode two in the middle of it.
Yeah, when she talked about what happened during the White Night.
Right.
And then it made sense, because her partner's family got killed, but that little boy hid with his sister, took his sisters and hid. So that made sense, and but it just was, oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's, all in all, I think it's actually a great show.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely worth watching. The other thing about the Watchmen is, because it's very interesting that you said it too, about the newspaper guys, because the little girl who came up with and actually purchased the newspapers was actually bringing it to somebody else. I guess whoever it was actually in that vehicle that they were in. She was in. I don't know if that was just a one-off thing where there's supposed to be interaction between the little girl and the newspaper guys.
No. Whoever she was getting that newspaper for is someone
has to be somebody important. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious to figure out who that actually is.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see if they actually pay that off or if they just count it as a one-off. Outside of that, it's all the interesting characters too. The the Glass. Mr. Glass.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that's man, that is awesome.
I want that man.
Oh, it looks like a luchador mask so bad. It's like, this is awesome. But yeah, that and
he's the Looking Glass,
right? So Looking Glass. Who's the other one? I know there's
the Red Scare.
Red Scare. He's funny.
I know who I like, because if you remember at the beginning of the first episode when they went to modern day and they pulled that dude over who was in the 7th Cavalry, but he was you caught what he was listening to.
He was listening to some hip hop music, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. That's why I was like, all right, what's going on here? All right, whatever. Right. So and then when that cop called back and he asked, and he was talking to Panda.
Yeah.
And I was
get permission to release the weapon.
But then they showed Panda. It's the dude with the giant panda mask. I was like, oh, that's so dope.
Right. I was like, oh, that is dope, man. He was like, you're going to get rid of this by releasing the weapons. And he did say, too, John Johnson's character, he said, yeah, you know, it was my funeral, which is very interesting. Side note, Don Johnson and his characters have a very, 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 very good penchant for dying early.
Yeah.
So if Don Johnson's in something, more than likely he's probably going to die early. That's because he's that good and they probably can't afford to keep him. So we gotta we need you for the first few episodes, get people interested, and we're gonna go ahead and let you go. John's like, I'm good with it. Go ahead. But outside of that, though, I think that's actually going to end us for the spoiler cast. We'll actually talk more about Watchmen on the next episode of podcast here. What else did we actually have too? I know we had some. Did we have? We're talking about Disney. No, Disney Plus.
All right. So check this out. Yeah. This is on day one. All the Star Wars related stuff that's going to be available on day one, okay. Which is A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, all the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy,
the standards.
Yep. And then there's Empire of Dreams, the story of the Star Wars trilogy. It's from 2004.
Is that a documentary?
I think so. All of the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Good. So I can go back and catch up on that.
Yeah. So I think
because I was trying to catch up on it, then I think Netflix pulled it.
What is it? The Clone Wars episode, The Revenge of the Sith for the Clone Wars, or something like that. It looks like the second part of the Clone Wars. Right. And then Rebels will be on there. Then there's a whole bunch of Lego Star Wars series. There's the Clash of the Skywalkers. The new Yoda Chronicles.
Are these animated?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But it's Lego Star Wars. Then there's one I don't really care about, but Christy will want to watch, which is Droid's Tales.
Yay!
Because it's R2-D2.
Are they gonna bring back the 70s Christmas special?
No. That's not as bad as the one where those little white kids got left on Endor and had to help with the Ewoks. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. That one was awful.
That's the after school special.
That one was awful.
Poor guy.
Oh, because there was two of them. There was two of those movies.
I know. Money grabs.
Yes. The Force Awakens is going to be on there. Here's Lego Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures. Now I'm going to show you this, and I want you to... So that's what I was talking about earlier.
Are they from Puerto Rico?
I don't know. That's what I'm looking at. Like,
because it's like they're brown, but they're not black.
I don't know. I'm curious.
I guess it's more. Are they Mandalorians?
I don't know. But it's called the Freemaker Adventures. I looked at like a little bit of it. It looked pretty interesting for Lego Star Wars. Rogue One, Star Wars Resistance, which I never watched because I didn't care.
Star Wars Resistance, man.
I've heard that it's pretty good, but
that's an animated one too, right?
Yes, and it takes place right before Force Awakens, I think.
Okay. I remember that. Yeah.
Obviously in The Mandalorian, and there's another one, Lego All Stars. I don't want to watch that. But The Mandalorian, I am all about.
All right, cool.
Because I'm hearing nothing but good stuff about The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But that's because who's in charge of it.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that he would do anything that would not do it justice.
Right.
And because of who's directing it, I would not be surprised if he put Peter Billingsley in the show. So it was like something we got to look for is Peter Billingsley. Who's like, that's one of his best friends. So Ralphie is probably in The Mandalorian somewhere. And if they gave him the ability to say, "You should try out, kid," I will love it. Love it. But I doubt that.
Right. Like, you'll shoot your eye out.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Jon Favreau and Peter Billingsley are like best friends.
So that'll actually be pretty good when we actually see it too. And that's it. The Mandalorian, is that dropping on day one or is that?
Yes, that's day one. That's day one.
Okay, when is day one? Is it
the 12th?
The 12th. Okay.
Wow, that's so sad that I could shout that out.
No, but that's.
I don't know. Have you signed up for it?
Yeah, I already got it.
Okay.
Well, I already signed up for it. Yeah.
Me too.
Okay.
Oh, so that should be our next giveaway.
Which one?
The whole year.
Whole year
of Disney Plus.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Whole year of Disney Plus. If you're interested, make sure you actually like. That's one. Comment on this video.
And be a subscriber.
This video. In this video. I want to say it again. This video. This video. The one that's on, let's see, it's going to be released, but you're going to see the tag for November the 9th. November the 9th. We're going to repeat it again. Like. Hit the like button. 2. Leave a comment. This video. And subscribe. Because if you subscribe, you'll be able to get a notification that says, hey, you have a new subscriber. And we can tell who actually subscribed. And we can reach out to you to see if you actually won. So, like, comment, subscribe.
And there's another show that's going to be on Disney Plus that not Disney Plus. It's going to be on HBO Max. That I was shocked to hear about, but that's Rick and Morty.
So what's going on with Rick and Morty?
So Rick and Morty from here on, from once HBO Max starts, Rick and Morty will only be on HBO Max. It's not going to be on Hulu anymore.
Let's see. It's not going to be on Hulu anymore. Now, it's very interesting because it's already on Adult Swim, and they've already made announcements that they actually have.
Well, no, it'll be on Adult Swim,
right? So
because that's Time Warner, and Time Warner owns
owns. Right, so that's what I was saying, because usually when they move in like that and say it's only going to be on one place...
for streaming purposes.
Oh, okay.
It's only going to be on HBO Max.
Okay, cool. So, it's going to be on HBO Max. Now, here's the question, because outside of Adult Swim, HBO Max, I'm trying to think, are they going to consult everything all together as far as when they actually do get HBO Max up and running? Or are you going to collapse your HBO Go's, your HBO Nows, and all that? Or
I think so.
It's basically because also too we're talking about the DC streaming service, which I actually have, and I'm catching up on like Titans and a few other shows too, and also my Young Justice show, which is pretty dope. So you should actually watch that. Young Justice is pretty dope. But as far as the future of these streaming apps, because I know the DC streaming one hasn't really been doing all that well, especially when they had production issues with like Swamp Thing, which is their first one. I still have to watch that too, but I heard the first season was pretty dope because they had production issues, they actually had to cancel Swamp Thing, and it's only had just one season. Now your Titans have actually picked up and made a little bit better profit, but I think they're starting to run across like little glitches and little issues too when it comes to their new episodes. I think they still have new episodes coming out. And also Doom Patrol, they actually have their seasons too, which I still have to get through. But with all those things happening with the streaming service for DC, I was concerned if they were going to actually do something like this, because now I'm understanding that they're going to fold everything in. So with their HBO Go, so I don't know how far they're going to roll it in as far as the comic books.
So it's the new streaming service will feature titles across Warner's properties, including Warner Brothers Cinema, HBO, Cinemax, New Line, DC Entertainment, CNN, TNT, TBS, True TV, Turner Classic Movies, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, Looney Tunes, and more. So that means they own the rights to like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, all the DC stuff.
Right.
They also have the U.S. streaming rights for all of Studio Ghibli, movies. So you can stream those on HBO Max. But then some TV shows that are coming over, Friends, I don't care. Yeah, The West Wing, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Pretty Little Liars, Big Bang Theory, and 2.5 Men. So, and then CW shows, Catwoman, Nancy Drew, the Riverdale spinoff.
They're collapsing all the CW
Doctor
shows.
Who. They have the exclusive streaming rights for Doctor Who.
Ooh. I thought BBC had that.
Well, this is the U.S. streaming rights.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
For Doctor Who. Though not the classic ones, only the new ones.
Okay.
So, Top Gear, Luther, South Park, Rick and Morty. This is South Park and Rick and Morty, which are currently streaming on Hulu, will be moving over to HBO Max once it launches.
Wow, dang.
And then new content from new movies and shows from Stephen King, Jordan Peele, J.J. Abrams, Joss Whedon. I mean, so and then so all this stuff. So you have now 3 companies that are competing for your streaming rights.
Right. It is a streaming war now. So
yeah.
So the curious question now is, how much are they going to charge?
$14.99.
$14.99 for all of that? Because that's a whole lot of content from a whole lot of different areas that are used to having their own streaming service, and they're going to collapse everything in. I was thinking that they're probably going to try to pull what Disney's doing, which is probably going to try to pull a $60 like a year subscription, and just probably.
Well, that would be dope if they allow you to
get it per year.
Yeah,
just to start
make it cheaper.
Yeah, just to.
Well, so Disney is going to do you can add Disney Plus, Hulu, the ad not the ad free one, just the ad
regular one.
Yeah, the one with ads.
Yeah,
and ESPN for like $17 a month or something like that.
But without it, I think what's the name is charging just $15 too, ain't it? Just Disney Plus. They're just if you just went with Disney Plus.
Oh no, that's $6.99. If you just went with Disney Plus by itself, it's $6.99.
Wow.
And then if you want to bundle ESPN and Hulu in there, then it's like you're saving like $4 or something.
Right, because if you went for Hulu by itself, it's actually $7.99.
Unless you have the premium. Yeah, the premium
for the premium, which just allows you to have I think
no commercials, which that's what I have.
No commercials. As many screens as you want to watch it on. In theory,
I think you can only have 2 going at once. You can do simultaneous screens.
Right. So, but I think there is another one because I actually have one where I can actually watch all of us. Like I can watch a stream, Alika can watch a stream, and Melissa can watch. They're all watching at the same time.
Oh well.
Right. But I think, the kicker is that they lock you into your zip code. So it all has to be here in my current zip code.
Sorry, kids.
Right.
If we get that.
Right. Because it'll yell at you like, hey, you're not in your current zip code. I tell you what, go ahead and upgrade your account. So yeah, we tried it, but it didn't work. So outside of that, you got anything else in your docket? I think I'm actually clean on mine.
No, so the one thing that I just wanted to talk about was so Black Friday. There's a bunch of games that are going on sale. Oh. So do not get Need for Speed Heat yet if you're going to get that, which I heard is not that bad. There's no microtransactions in it.
For now.
No, I don't think they're going to put that in there. So I'm going to pick that up on Black Friday because right now it's $60, but in 2 weeks it'll be $35. So that's a pickup.
That's a pickup.
There's a whole bunch of other games that there's one that just came out that you don't want to get it, which is WWE 2K20 or something like that.
The one that's been having issues?
Yeah, that's going to like $20.
The one that's people get stuck in the ring.
Oh yeah, I saw that where her legs were she was like this and she's
just sliding around, just gliding around the ring. It's
seizures. There was one where they're picking up a chair and the chair disappeared from their hands. Yeah. And she went to hit someone with the chair, and then the chair was gone, and then she got hit by air, and then the chair just appeared right next to her. It's
you gotta see the YouTube videos. There's other YouTube videos of it with WWE 20K 2020. Is there 20?
I don't know. Anyway, the latest WWE.
Look at the glitches for those. A whole bunch of people posting glitches on YouTube. It is hilarious.
Yeah. That's because Ukes left. So Ukes made all of the games that we remember going back to the Nintendo 64.
Right.
And so even probably some on PlayStation maybe on PlayStation, I think, where they did some of the King of the Ring stuff.
Yeah,
but they've been making games since the 90s.
Right.
Most of the video games that we know of are made by a company called Ukes.
Yeah.
And but now Ukes is like, no, we're not going to help you with that. So Visual Concepts did the newest one, and quality took a oof.
Right, because from what I heard, that Ukes company wanted to start doing their own wrestling game.
Penn State lost.
Did they? Yeah, we were watching before the show. We were actually watching Minnesota Penn State, and Minnesota has officially ended the win streak of Penn State. But that's the sports version of our podcast. We'll talk about that at another day, because we will have a sports version of our podcast where we can include our other brother Jonathan Scales. So,
oh gosh,
yeah, he's a hoot. You're gonna love it.
Well, we gotta watch our OSU game.
Oh yeah, we will have live streams of OSU games. So
Scales be tripping, dude.
That Scales be tripping. So that's my dog, man. Shout out to Peach Smooth and It'll Be a King. So anyway, just want to let everybody know that we'll probably be calling this podcast to a close. I'm actually clean from my docket. I think you're clean on yours too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and call this podcast to a close. And again, we will be doing a giveaway for the month of November for the Disney Streaming Plus service. Again, we need you to like. That's one. That's this video. Like this video. Comment on this video.
That's two.
That's two. And the third thing, and most important, hit subscribe. You got to hit subscribe, because if you don't hit subscribe, we won't know who to send the giveaway to. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And again, this is Circle Brothers Podcast with RJ
and Eric.
And thank you for rocking with us, because you know when you're rocking with Circle Brothers, you're rocking with the best. And of course, your family here. Go ahead and leave your comments and suggestions on our comment section, and we'll holler at you guys later. Peace.
Deuces.